evening. I'm Audrey Wiggins, and welcome to another webisode of Make Something Happen. I'm so excited today to be here with my friends Jim and Marsha. They're entrepreneurs, they're coaches, they're inventors, and they're going to be telling us all about those things as we get on with the show. But just a little quick background here of Marsha Dean Walker Eastwood. She is a relationship manager and coach. She's been in business. Her experience takes her over a wealth of 23 years, and she was also she was a former Ohio Peace Officer training. She's certified. She's a certified instructor, actually. She's going to give us more details about all the things that she's done there. And as well as Jim here, he's a financial productivity coach, and he brings 25 years experience together with us on the show. And so together, that's over 50 years of expertise sitting right here. So you are really about to be blown away. So you may want to get your recorders or your pens or your tablets and take some notes here. But they're visionaries, and they're committed to making a difference both socially and even in the environment. So we're going to hear from them as they're going to introduce themselves, and we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. So we're going to start with you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And yes, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to do when we grow up.
I love it.
But we've been very pleased. You know, Marsha and I both had pretty long careers in our respective fields before we found each other.
Okay.
And together we have formed several companies.
Awesome.
M. Dean Walker and Associates, which does productivity and relationship work, and we've written a couple of books.
Okay.
And we also have a manufacturing business, and I'll let Marsha talk a little bit about that.
All right. Well, like Jim said, we both had been doing coaching in a sort of different setting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided that, we try to help people socially in their relationships, but we also try to be responsible citizens. And so to that end, we created our business, Emmy Baker's Originals, which makes environmentally friendly, 100% all natural, environmentally friendly fresheners for your cars, your shoes, and your living environment. So we're excited about that. And we are the only company that has totally recyclable packaging right down to the label.
All right, and I really want to hear something like that. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and dive into what these folks are doing. Hello, it's Audrey Wiggins of Make Something Happen, and I'm coming to you today on behalf of North Coast Minority Media. They're all excited and gearing up for their annual event, the Diversity Business Health and Careers Expo and Diversity Celebration Gala. It'll all be happening on Friday, May 11, 2012 at the Lorain County Community College Spitzer Conference Center, held in Elyria, Ohio. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. You can be a sponsor. You can have a vendor booth. There's going to be all kinds of activities going on, as well as health screenings, business-to-business speed networking. There's going to be job interview networking. So there'll be a job fair, a fashion show. There are going to be door prizes and gifts to be given away. There's going to be a luncheon and, again, the dinner in the evening. So please, click in, look at the website there below, click in, plug in, and we'll be seeing you on May 11th at the Diversity Business Health and Careers Expo, sponsored by North Coast Minority Media.
Did you know that your opinion matters? Did you know that your vote really counts? Well, it does, at least as soon as you apply this right. But what's a right anyway if you never use it? It's yours and nobody can take it from you, right? Wrong. By not having what you need in order to vote, you allow this right to be taken away, which is un-American, unjust, and unfair. Take a stand. Go to www.project5millionvoterid.com.
All right, we're back with Jim and Marsha, where we're talking about their business, their inventions. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with your Emmy Baker's, your product, and then go from there?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. It's something we're both very excited about. It's kind of funny. The joke that we have is that we see the little pine trees hanging in cars.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's got one of the little pine trees to freshen their cars.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize that those pine trees are soaked in formaldehyde.
Oh, wow. And we're breathing that.
Yeah, they're actually pretty harmful for you.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that goes into our fresheners, whether you use it in your car or in your home, is completely natural. It is, and I guess the word is, what is it, non-comedogenic?
Some of the products that we make, our skincare products, are all non-comedogenic. And all of our fresheners are phthalate free. Mm-hmm. And phthalate is the material that they use to soften plastics. And that is the thing that they use in a lot of fragrances to drive the smell.
Okay.
So our products have none of those things in it. No acetone, no formaldehyde,
Awesome.
no phthalates.
Awesome. Okay, and when was this invention? It's kind of new, isn't it?
Actually,
There's a story.
Actually,
Oh, we
yes,
got
it
a
is kind of
story,
funny
okay.
Because,
So take us through to the next break.
well, excuse me. I'll tell you from my point of view, because Marsha and I were working together, and of course we had known each other for a while, and she was telling me about the first product that she was creating, and that was the shoe tees.
Okay.
And we call them tees because it's actually a solid substance, but it's packed in a little tea bag.
Okay.
And it's all, again, it's all completely biodegradable. But anyway, make a long story short, Marsha was telling me about the shoe tees, and I sort of said, "Oh, that's kind of a cute idea."
All right,
we'll see. And
encourager.
and so I kind of I said, well, that may catch on at some point. Well, I'm not quite sure what made it click, but at some point we started looking at it, and I think I kind of pulled it out of my brain drawer and said, you know what, this is actually a pretty good idea. What else could we do with this? And of course we realized that the tea bags that we use come in fairly, it's kind of like the sun tea bags that they used to sell, or maybe still do. And by the way, you don't drink this stuff, you smell it. But the larger bags we use for freshening rooms or cars. And they're marketed as car teas and kitchen teas. And we even have certain scents that we use for kids that are going off to school called dorm teas.
Oh, wow.
You think about all those smelly rooms that kids have in college.
Yes.
And so, and then we have the smaller ones that are shoe teas that are packed 2 to a package. And of course, you drop them in your shoes to freshen your shoes.
Wow.
But we decided that this was a product that really was ready to be brought to market.
Okay. All right. Okay. Marsha.
Yes. Aside from his shoe tees, because basically when
You can be wrong once, okay? That's all right.
Well, what happened was, like, back in 1998, I was making lotions and soaps and shower gels, and I had a very thriving candle business.
Okay.
But the thing about candles is that, the majority of house fires are due to unattended candles.
Okay.
And when you burn candles, the wicks have changed over the years and everything, but you still have that open flame.
That's right.
Some of the older candles, if you put them, on a table by a wall, you will see soot eventually. And when you get through with the candle, what do you do with the container? You throw it in the trash. Glass itself will not go away.
Right.
Most people will not put it in a recycle bin or anything. All of the containers can't be recycled.
Right.
So
Because you got to clean all the old wax out
exactly.
of it before you recycle it.
So what I did was I tried to come up with an idea of how can people still freshen everything, and how can those loyal candle people get the fragrance that they love in a candle, but in a non-lethal kind of way, because our stuff uses no wicks, no sticks, no plug-ins, and no aerosols.
All right.
And so that makes a difference.
Okay. All right. Now they have one on the website, and it's like there are humongous, that's a real word, amount of fragrances. So there is something for everyone. I want to give the website real quick so everybody can know.
It's www.emmybaker.com.
Okay, and you'll see that in a second down there on the bottom of your screen there. So that's exciting. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to My Video Broadcaster. This is our webinar system, and it's unlike any webinar system currently on the market. But what makes this product so powerful is that your presenter is streaming live in high-definition TV quality video. With this powerful product, you can share PowerPoint presentations, share videos, share JPEGs, chat, file share, and even use the whiteboard with participant drawing for collaboration. And it's simple to customize with predefined and fully customized layouts. And you can change layouts in real time. Add your banner, logo, and change the color to your brand's look and feel. Hyperlink the banner and logo to a website of your choice, and upload most major video formats with our Flash encoder. You can also invite guest speakers via video and audio, share your desktop, conduct surveys, and more, with no software to download and install. And only the host needs to have the service. Educators, motivators, or anybody doing any type of online presentations are going to love the features of this.
Well, it's Audrey Wiggins again, and we're back here with Dina Martian, and they're talking about their tea fresheners. And they brought some samples here in the studio, and we're going to share them with you, and then also where you can get them.
Well,
what you got there?
Right now, I brought a couple of these. Are both the shoe teas.
Okay.
And these come in packages, as we were saying before. Everything in this package goes right back to the earth.
Okay.
After it's used. There's no glass, no plastic, no, it's not pretty, it's simple.
It's right.
And
exactly.
these are the shoe teas that are packed 2 to a bag.
Mm-hmm.
And these are lighter scents. One is water orchid, the other's garden mint.
Sounds awesome.
And
let's open one up here.
they're meant to
okay. Go ahead.
They're meant to be a light scent so that they freshen but they don't overwhelm.
Okay.
And then some of the heavier scents are the ones that we use for like hazelnut cappuccino that make your car smell like you just had a Starbucks coffee.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I can smell
And
it.
then we also have fragrances that we have a fragrance, Eddie's Blues, which is really a male fragrance, and you can use it anywhere from the car to the closet to even that man cave that they keep off limits. So what we try to do is address fragrances that everybody can use. So
ooh, that's delicious.
and we put them in Ziploc bags because one thing about our product is it's portable. A lot of people go on vacation and they stay in less than 5-star hotels.
Okay.
And there's always this stale hotel room.
Right.
So like most people aren't going to take the little pine trees and take them out of their car and put them in their hotel room. But you can take your shoe tea or your kitchen tea or your car tea, and you can take it with you to a hotel room, to a camping cabin, to a tent, to just about any place.
So with this little tea, we're putting in our shoes, and we put our shoes where?
In the closet.
Okay.
In the closet. So your stinky foot smell doesn't go on your clothes.
That's awesome. And I was wondering too, we were talking about different places to use them. Is there a way to have your kitchen tea? Is that it goes in the refrigerator or just in the atmosphere as far as cooking and as
normally what we tell people is get a little saucer or something like that and just lay it in the saucer and put it on top of the refrigerator, put it on the back of the stove.
All right.
And just, we have one called Cinnabon.
Oh, I love cinnamon.
The kitchen smells like you made cinnamon rolls.
And what about the caramel apple pie?
Oh gosh, yes, caramel apple or apple caramel crunch.
Apple caramel crunch, right? That it smells like you just baked the pie.
In case you just joined us, that we're not talking about food, we're talking about freshness.
We are. We're talking about a really innovative way.
This is awesome.
That you can freshen, spaces and things without contributing to the carbon footprint, because people have a bad habit of just throwing things away.
That's right.
And a lot of times, if once those tea bags are exhausted, fragrance wise, if you were the ultimate slob and you just threw it on the ground, it would actually return to the earth. Okay. It wouldn't just lay there like a can or like a bottle or something like that. And at worst case scenario, if you just tossed it in the grass, probably your flowers would grow in there, or dandelions or whatever. So
because you can actually look in here, at the ingredients, you can tell that that it's all natural.
Right.
Yeah, it looks almost like a little bag of cereal.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yes. This is awesome. You guys got to get some of these. EMEBakers.com. Ooh. And you have other ones too?
Oh, we have a variety of flavors, scents. Don't eat them.
I know we're getting hungry here talking about the next things.
We have, the kitchen teas are sort of food scents.
All right.
The shoe teas, like I said, are lighter. When you first take them out of the package, there's a lot of scent there, but they're designed to last for several months.
Okay. All right.
The car teas are, we have Asian teak, we have the apple caramel
orchard.
or apple orchard honey melon.
Honey melon.
Okay. Okay. And so for the car tees, are they on a hanger or
No.
they're just like
No,
this? And
actually, we
you
tell
put them up
people
under the
just
seat?
toss them under the seat and
Right,
just forget
yes.
it. Your car
Yeah,
will
'cause
smell
I'll be
great
honest
for
with you,
months.
when you hang those, when you the hanger ones, and you're talking about what they're made of and all that,
Yeah.
you know, but just sometimes it just get all up because you're sitting so close to them. I would have to take it down and I would throw it up under the
Yeah.
seat because
Right.
it's just overpowering in it, and that chemical, somehow that comes through.
Yes.
It's
And when it's
nasty.
under the seat, it's out of the way. Like it's not really an obstruction because
Yeah,
most
that's
people
important
don't
as well.
know. In the United States, it's
Mhm.
against the law in all 50 states to have things hanging from your rearview mirror.
And you would know
And,
that because you're that security person.
Well, you know, I mean, and there's a reason for that too. And most people, they don't have a problem because it's up to the discretion, you know, of law enforcement whether or
Right.
not they want to cite anybody. But more importantly, it's out of the way. And that's the thing. And you know, as Jim was saying, you know, you can there's a myriad of uses for them. But this is something that you don't hang anywhere.
Yes.
You don't have to stuff it in front of the vent in your car. You don't have to do anything like that. But I will say, in the winter,
Yes.
if you have air duct or a radiator,
Mm-hmm.
you can put one of the T's on the radiator
Okay.
or in front of the air duct, and you will have the most magnificent smelling environment in the world.
Wow. So, yeah, I can't wait to use these. I'm gonna try that. I think I'll do the orchid one first. That's the one that that we opened. And then I'll try the other later. But that's awesome. There's also something exciting on the horizon that you're gonna be doing with the teas. Share this with our audience.
Well, we did the Walmart Get on the Shelf contest, which
Okay.
is not over yet.
Okay.
And of course, we didn't win, but we got a lot of exposure
And that's
for our business. And I have to say, Jim worked very hard, you know, on that project. And he is like, I started calling him like he's the roving ambassador. 'Cause he's out and about more than I am
Okay,
because I
okay.
do the marketing stuff. But you know, we tease each other now because at first it was sort of off the cuff, like shoe tease. You know? But when you really think about how many cans of aerosol air freshener are sold,
Yes.
how many things you hang up in your car are sold, how many candles are still sold, and you know when you buy our teas, that's the end of your expense.
Okay.
When you buy like say a plug-in, and this is the money man here. He'll tell you.
Well, you have to. You're captive to their refills.
That's right.
You know, no other refill's going to fit it, so
Mhm.
you have to buy the refill that's just for that one.
Right.
And you know, you're using electricity. I know that there are some people that get a little overboard with the idea of green.
Yes.
You know, but the fact is, these don't pollute. They don't use energy.
Okay.
They don't add to the carbon footprint, as people call it,
Right.
and they don't fill up landfills. There's
That's-
not a reason in the world that this should go into a landfill. You could toss it under the bushes in front of your house,
Okay.
and it would just dissolve.
Right. Right. And even the packaging
Yeah.
is
You know,
Yeah.
another thing too
biodegradable.
is when you
Exactly.
spray. The scent doesn't really last that long, but have you ever thought about where the mist ends up? You know, that's another thing. It ends up on your furniture, it ends up
Yes.
on your carpet, and then it's just there.
Mhm.
You know, and when you plug something in, you have kids, you have pets, you have danger.
That's right.
You know, and even if you have faulty wiring, you know, I don't think, you know, burning a house down to make it smell good makes any sense. So,
Not at all.
And when you know, as you can tell, you know, like Jim said, the packaging is simple.
Mhm.
But one thing about our product is you have to actually open it up to smell it.
Yeah.
And if you go through any supermarket or anything, you can immediately tell when you get to the air freshener thing because you are bombarded.
Yeah, it's
with-
eking out, and it's the bases I think you know that they're made in.
And what do people do? They walk up there and they take the can, they shake it, and they spray it, and then they stick their nose up there to see how it smells. You know, so you figure 10 people do that, and each one spraying something different.
Yes.
You know, this is what you deal with, and you take your kids through that aisle. You take people with respiratory problems through that aisle.
Yes.
You know, you take the elderly through that aisle, and so you got all of this stuff going on that's like in the air along with the other stuff. And with our stuff,
yeah, I won't mention any product names, but a lot of the products that are out there are very, very bad for asthmatics.
Yes.
And you know, this is something that is not going to increase that. You know, if somebody already has a respiratory problem, it's not going to be increased by having these in their environment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, how can we get these teas from you?
We actually have an online store.
Okay.
We also have distributors that are distributing them for us,
Awesome.
and some smaller retailers. We're working on getting contracts with some bigger retailers.
Okay.
You know, they always say that's a blessing or a curse because you know, a larger retailer might say, okay, well, our initial order is you know, 10,000.
That's right.
Or 50,000 or whatever it may be. You know, we're still relatively a cottage industry with this, although, you know, even if we decide to automate, which we can, we're still going to keep all of our operations right here at home.
Awesome.
And make sure that we're employing people that are local to the area.
Okay.
because
That's important as well.
you know, it's well, I should remind people that you can order these. We have a store on our website at www.emmybaker.com. That's www.emmybaker.com. And the one thing about this is, like, for every 2,000 of these that we sell, we create a job for somebody.
Okay.
And I know in the overall scheme that may seem small, but that's still one more person that can work that wasn't working
and
before.
one more family.
Exactly.
That's eating comfortably, living comfortably, you know, less stress.
And all of our stuff is not only made in Ohio, it's made in America.
Amen.
By Americans.
Amen.
And for people who live here, it is Ohio products made by Ohioans.
Okay.
You know, to put Ohioans to work. And
All
I
right.
think that is very important.
Yes, it is. That's commendable. Appreciate that very much. So, okay, so we can get on the website. We have some retailers, and if they go to the website, they'll be able to list those retailers up there. They'll be able to find where to go. Well, that's exciting. I'm glad you did have the opportunity to be in the contest with Walmart. Just even you know, being a part of that, you know, that drums up excitement. It's almost like being nominated for an award. You may not win the award, but you definitely have got some notoriety, great amount of attention and awareness to the products, you know, and services that you offer. So that's exciting, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Really excited to hear for you, and I'm looking forward to see that journey, you know, and how far this takes you, which is sky's the limit, or even further, the space is the limit.
Yes.
Yeah, we start limiting ourselves,
Well,
really,
that's
you know.
true. We
Yes.
should probably be on the space station. This is a product
Freshening the
that
space station.
Send something over to NASA. Let's see what they say.
One thing that Jim didn't mention, we do the shoe tees. We have shoe tees. We have car tees. Car tees you can use everywhere: big rigs, boats, RVs, and things like that.
Okay.
We have the shoe tees, and a lot of times, if you're in a very small car, and a lot of people are, you can take one of the shoe tees and use it as a freshener. So they're kind of like interchangeable.
Okay.
We just, you know, fragrance-wise, some are stronger than others for areas that are going in there.
Absolutely.
We have kitchen teas, we have dorm teas, but we have something very interesting too.
What's that?
A lot of times, people, when they have their going home ceremonies, a lot of people don't have flowers. A lot of people don't really have a big event.
Okay, small memorial.
Right, but we make something called lasting impressions,
Oh, wow.
and they are like casket inserts.
Okay.
And so because we make them in a variety of fragrances, and you know, there is a significant emotional attachment usually when there's a funeral or something.
Yes.
And because we have them in like the basic fragrances, and we can make them in designer fragrances. So if, you know, someone's beloved family member or whatever has passed on, and maybe it was a guy who was really into like intuition for men or whatever.
Okay.
We can actually make an intuition casket insert.
Wow.
A lot of people, this means a lot.
Yes,
that
when they come up
they
and
can
they smell, yes.
that they can do this. And
Mhm.
for people who aren't going to have flowers and who aren't going to have big memorial services, the lasting impressions work, because after all, this whole life that people are discussing
Mm-hmm.
is a lasting impression.
Okay.
So we make those too, and
That's
we are the
awesome.
only ones who make those for certain.
Yes.
So, but we just thought it was like an added touch
Mhm.
that
Absolutely, yes.
people could add to that ceremony. So we make
Yes.
those too.
Yes, I can. As you're talking, I'm thinking about different niches, different markets that can use these. I can see these, hanging in salons, and they're selling them to their customers who are coming in, as you say, at the funeral homes when they're, doing the.
And we also have point of sale
Mhm.
display boxes too.
Okay.
So if somebody wanted to order some and they
Mhm.
had like, what is it, anywhere from 4 inches to a foot of counter space.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We have display boxes
All right.
that they can
Yes.
put them into.
Or they can always put them side by side and have
Mhm.
3, 4, 5 feet of counter space.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
This
awesome.
is the
There
visionary
you go.
here.
That brain powers. Woo! It's getting a little, I can smell a little burning in here. Let me get my little tea out.
We
This
have-
brain is.
Yes, the fresheners kiosks at all the major malls.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And we are always recruiting
Uh-huh.
distributors. If
Okay.
somebody doesn't have a lot of money and
Mhm.
wants to get in a business for themselves, we'd
All
be
right.
happy to sit down and talk with them about the opportunities that our company can afford them to.
Okay, that's exciting. Again, creating some income,
Yeah.
Right.
job opportunity. That's awesome. Well, we're going to come back on the other side of this message, and we're going to hear from Jim and Marsha about some of the other things that they're doing. The pastors are on TV, they're being on radio, have their own show, and Jim in the finance business, and just what's going on and how they can empower us again. And maybe you have an idea for an invention, and talking with these two fine folks can get you started. All right, we're back now with Jim and Marsha. That was a very. I love that last segment with the teas, and I can't wait to listen and hear the numbers. Marsha will be the exciting side, and we did this, and get the report from Jim. Okay, what's the bottom line? And the bottom line is going to probably be way up here somewhere. So I'm excited. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is exciting, and it's the thing that is interesting about this, and the things that we do in general,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's not so much, obviously we do it because we're making money from it,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
but we also want to get other people going,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the satisfaction really of working at something.
Okay.
That's something I think, I don't know when it was instilled in me, but I had this feeling from the earliest childhood. You hear a lot of people say, "Oh gosh, I want to retire when I'm 55." Well,
Right,
I missed
right.
that one already, so sorry. But
Close behind.
but the thing that is kind of surprising for me, and I got into the financial business over 20 years ago.
Mhm.
I got into it because I said I want to be able to work at something where nobody can ever tell me you must retire now.
Yes,
You're done.
yes,
You know,
you're right.
your job is no longer available.
Mhm.
Because I thought, gosh, I enjoy working. I enjoy being out and meeting people and doing
Yes,
things and
yes.
being creative and keeping the brain cells not moving, but at least active.
Look at it firing
But,
off in there.
Yeah, and so things like this are very exciting
Yes.
because it gives us opportunities where we can continue to do what we do for as long as we decide to.
Mhm.
if it ever gets to the point where it's not fun, we can say, okay, we're
We're done
done.
with
Somebody
this.
else takes over.
Yes.
But
Yes.
for right now, it's still a lot of fun.
Okay. That's great. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Work can be fun.
it can be, and I have to say, when you were talking about some of the other things that we do, we are the co-authors of a couple of books on
Okay.
relationships.
Mm-hmm.
We wrote a book. You hear a lot about domestic violence.
Yes.
And, November is like Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But I have to tell everybody, every single day of every single week of every single month of every single year
Mm-hmm.
is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Everybody needs to be aware every single day. And I mean, I know from personal experience, I survived almost 50 years of various forms of domestic violence.
Wow.
And so we wrote this book, and you hear a lot of people talk about, oh, why don't they just leave? Why did he take that? Why did she take that? I'd never stand for that. It from the outside, it seems so easy to say, why don't they leave? But if you don't have an action plan, it doesn't do any good to leave because you will be right back.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what Jim and I did, we wrote a book, and it's called Domestic Violence: How to Map Out an Exit Strategy. And what we did in the book, we sort of, and my story's in there along with some other stories. And what we did was we took people step by step from inside a domestic violence situation to how to leave, but how to leave successfully.
Okay.
Jim did the financial, like, how to set up things so that you will be independent
Mm-hmm.
when you leave, that you will be able to manage financially when you leave. And I did a lot of the legal aspects, what you need to do as far as, restraining orders, following through, making sure you show up in court, how to protect yourself once you leave and things like that. But there's a great deal of discussion in the book about the kind of roller coaster that people are on when they, decide to go. It's not that we didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It just may not have been for us at that point, the victim.
Yes.
It may not have been the most judicious thing to leave, to just say, I'm mad as hell and I'm out of here.
Yes.
Because if you don't do it the right way, you might be mad as hell and dead in there.
Yeah.
And so we thought it was important to write that book. And then we wrote another book, Are You Really Ready for a Relationship? Which is, which the reason that relationships fail, the reason that marriages fail is because people aren't ready for them. And so they
When
kind
you
of...
say not ready, you're talking about that character, the behavior, the person, the
what?
individual. Yes.
And
What they
matching,
bring to a
matching your
relationship.
personalities.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And your philosophies. That's something that a lot of people, there's a physical attraction, or there's some level of attraction that brings people together.
Yes.
And they don't share some of the things that make them who they are. And here I am speaking as if I'm the human services specialist, which I'm not. But this has been a great teacher.
I'm sure.
But that's one of the things, is that people come together. Sometimes they have children already, and then they start to go, okay, well, what's my blueprint like, and what's your blueprint like, and are they compatible at all? And sometimes people are together for 2, 3, 4 years when they say, gosh, we're just not compatible at all. What do we do?
Wow.
And so those are some of the things people need to understand is, a relationship is, and I can say this as a financial coach.
Mm-hmm.
People always talk about what's the biggest investment I'll ever make. Is it buying a house? Is it buying a car?
Right.
Having a relationship is the biggest investment you're ever going to make, by far.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you have $1 million. A relationship is by far a bigger investment.
Yes, and much more work. You can move your money from place to place, but up your relationship. But what makes you guys work? What's the glue that holds you guys together?
Aside from the fact that I love him more than the sun loves the sky, we're just very lucky because, I loved him from the moment I saw him.
Wow.
And we just have this very unique connection, but more important than anything, he makes me laugh.
Okay.
But he also makes me grounded, because if you hear us talk, it's like I'm just, like I gargle with champagne or something, and he is sort of like,
knows the balance.
he really is, because I'm the clown.
Okay.
And stuff. And I have we both have sort of twisted sense of humor, but I think mine is, like always out there. But we work because we talk to each other.
Okay.
And we have discussions. We don't talk at each other.
Right. Or talk over the texting.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't, we don't argue.
Okay.
Because I think that a lot of people don't understand. There are a lot of therapists who say arguing is good. I personally believe that arguing is counterproductive, because I think it's human nature to go above and beyond.
That's right.
And
to get your point across, and I'm gonna, make you believe.
But once the words are out of your mouth, then that's done. And see,
Yes.
I am a person that doesn't believe in forgiveness. So for me, there is no going back. I mean, saying you're sorry is, like, I'm sorry. It does not compute. And so, but we talk and we laugh, and we both have that twisted sense of humor. And
comes out at unusual times.
Yes. And he is just like the most wonderful person.
Okay.
He just is. I mean, it's, the thing about relationships is that, and the reason most of them fail is because what I call love hunger.
Okay.
Being alone and being lonely is very hard. And the older you get, the harder it is. And this is why people have these serial relationships. Because that hunger is never sated. It'll go along. And it's like, it's like eating something you don't like because it's the only thing that's there.
Yes.
Like, you will get full, but you won't feel very good. You'll still want, what you really want.
Yes, yes.
And so a lot of people do that. The first, somebody comes along and they say, well, I can make this work. I think I can make this work.
You're talking about, that old settling thing.
Exactly.
Even when all the red flags and sparks are going off, it's just because that person is in front of us, this is the last one. I'm like, no. If this man or this woman came along, then another one will come too. Just give it a chance and really, get the right one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the people who have the arm candy dream. It doesn't matter if you're the most shallow, vacuous human being. If you look good, if it's the thing to be seen with you, and stuff like that, then it doesn't really matter that I hate your guts. We make such a beautiful public presence,
right?
We can make this work because we are the beautiful people.
Right.
And the beautiful people usually beat the living crap out of each other behind the doors, and they have the most miserable relationship. But to them, it's like it's what's necessary.
Right.
And most people don't really look for a real person that actually, like Jim says, compliments who they are. Like their blueprints match up.
Right.
And a lot of times you'll see a spendthrift with a person who is very thrifty. That doesn't work. You'll see a person who is very humble with a very gregarious control freak.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right.
And they just don't match up. And and then sometimes people just do things because they worry so much about what it looks like to other people.
That's kind of sad. Yes.
You can love somebody and people are going to say, oh God, he's older than you. Oh God, she's older than him. Oh no, like there's like a 20-year age difference. Well, there's like a 5-year age difference. So what?
Exactly. As long as you go back to that compliment, the compatibility.
Right.
Can I confess I've been there, but
Yeah.
Well, we all have.
Yeah, I was the older person. I was the younger one. In a relationship. But,
Right.
but there are just certain things, in common with people. Will run their mouth, but deaf ear.
Yeah. And like Marsha was saying, there are some people who say, oh, well, somebody gets divorced and they go look for somebody who's 30 years younger. And you go, 30 years younger, what do you have in common?
Right.
I mean, you didn't listen to the same music, you didn't see the same movies, you didn't watch the same TV, you didn't, you may not have anything in common at all.
Right.
And after the physical infatuation begins to fade, which, who knows, may take a month, may take 6 months, may take a year.
Right.
But guess what? It's going to fade.
Yes.
And then you're going to look at each other and go, why am I with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Or it may take 3 days. I'm not sure.
It's like, hopefully the 3 days.
So you can get it over with.
Exactly.
And
And
you know,
you don't have to worry about this big healing process.
well,
or whatever,
like
bitterness.
Jill said, reference points are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Sometimes, and it's so funny because the age difference between he and I, not that great. But, I always tell him, God, it took you so long. I already knew how to dress myself, tie my shoes when I was ready for school by the time you decided to show up on the planet. But, I was already watching TV and he was just still with his bottle. But
it's funny how when you look back, if you take years back, that it is like that.
Right.
But by the time you do meet this person, say you're 43 and the other person is 23, they're already mature. They've already learned some things, and you do have a certain commonality. Hopefully, if you're matching it.
Well, thanks to Nickelodeon, some things help. But there are times when I've asked them, were you alive when this show was on? Because I was watching, there's only like 4 years difference between us, but 4 years is like, okay, well, he and I are fine now, but when he was 12 and I was 16, wouldn't have been fine. When he was 9 and I was already 13, might not have, went over so well.
Yeah.
But there are things like, I was watching TV in 1953. In 1953, he wasn't even here, so it's sort of like, and so I tease him sometimes and I said, were you alive when this show was on, and stuff? And he'll say, no, but I've seen it.
Thank God for reruns.
Well, but, he has like this vast knowledge of life, and it's very hard to be with somebody where one person was very, very sheltered and the other person has actually lived life. And it's those kind of things, and it's also tolerance has a lot to do with things, and understanding. When we were writing the book, there were times when it was very hard for him to write the book with me. Because people as they are now. So it's very hard to imagine that someone else appreciated them so little that there was abuse and violence, in their life and things like that. But, he always tells people about the money aspects, that if two people are not on the same page financially, it makes things hard.
As far as the principle is not necessarily having more or less.
Well, some people are very material,
People, you could have somebody that came from an extremely wealthy background, somebody that came from certainly a very modest background, but their principles and ideas could be very compatible.
Right.
That's one of the things that I try to help people understand is that a person has their personality. Their partner is not going to be able to change it.
Yes.
And if you go into a relationship saying, I will be able to change this person to make them more like me, it's not going to happen. It just can't.
That's right.
Because only an individual can change how they think and feel. Nobody outside can make that happen.
Right.
And again, that's often the real problem that either a relationship dies and it's still it's like an arm that has had all the arteries severed and yet it's still attached to your body.
Okay.
It can be a pretty awful thing to drag around.
That's right.
Or it just gets severed because one person says, you're not changing. You're not matching the you're not the person I had hoped you would be.
That's right.
Sorry, they are who they are.
That's right. That's
and
right.
and
From
so
beginning to end.
that's something that people need to be aware of, is that you don't go saying, well, this person has money, as an example, and so I don't really like them, but they've got money,
Right.
so I'll just
Exactly.
change them. No, it's not going to happen.
No.
And the best thing about what we do is that every Monday and every Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30, people can get all of this advice for free
Yeah,
on
I
our
was going
blog
to ask
talk
you about
show.
that later. Yes, yes.
But it's people always. Why would you want to be a relationship coach? Why would you want to be? It's very important to me that people be on as even a keel as possible. And that people realize that relationships are not just intimate interactions. They are, how you deal with the bus driver that drives the bus you ride every single day, the person who delivers your mail. There are postal workers who know more about their customers than people around them. They know. There's been many a time when a mail carrier saved a person's life.
Wow.
They knew right away something was wrong. Either there was too much mail, or the person normally came out to greet them and didn't, or whatever.
Yes.
So there's those relationships. There are relationships that people have with their favorite cashier at Walmart. There are relationships that people have with their coworkers and their colleagues and their neighbors. And all of these things, all of these relationships, they require work, but they also require respect, and they command respect and appreciation and patience and tolerance.
Yes.
Yes. And I have to say, people who know me, they would say they know that I am not really a religious person, but one of my favorite passages is from Corinthians, where they say love is patient and love is kind. And it's the same thing. I mean, you don't kick your dog. You love your dog.
Right.
You love your cat. Because you get this back from them. You respect differences and you appreciate the differences, but you very much appreciate what people bring to your life. If people bring joy and caring and compassion and passion to your life, that is a very good thing. And if people bring misery and pain and discord, that is a very bad thing.
Yes.
But it's still within the context of a relationship, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And there are those of us who are very love hungry. There are those of us who are controlling. And there are those of us who always see ourselves as rescuers. But just because you rescue somebody doesn't mean that they are going to reward you with undying appreciation. They at some point will say, well, did I ask you? Who asked you? And if this
maybe
is so,
they didn't want to be rescued.
some people don't want to be rescued, and some people like to be in distress constantly just to get attention. Oh, poor pitiful me.
Right.
And you see them and they live in a different house, a nicer house, and still, oh, poor pitiful me. They get a better job, you see them driving a beater and now they're driving a Benz, and it's like, oh, poor pitiful me. Well, before it was, oh, poor pitiful me because I couldn't do any better, and then it's like, oh, poor pitiful me because I overdid the better and I can't afford the better. And so it's like those
That's
things.
a vicious cycle.
It is that snare people in, but seriously, love hunger and that rescue syndrome are two things that play big roles in relationships.
Wow.
This is why some people want to live in a city and other people do not want to reach out and touch anybody.
Yes, that's an awesome place to stop right there. Thanks again, and when we come back, we're going to hear from Jim in the finance coaching. We're going to hear some more about that. We'll be right back.
Imagine having 16 people located anywhere in the world on a live video conference at the same time. That is the power of My Video Boardroom. This is an exciting product Because within the boardroom, you can do presentations, PowerPoints, share your desktop, and so many more features. Include up to 16 video participants. Chat. No reservations required. Toll or toll-free numbers. Up to 100 attendees via phone. VoIP audio, application sharing, and desktop collaboration. The only person that needs the My Video Talk account on this conference is you, the person that schedules the meeting. Everyone else just needs internet access and a simple webcam to be part of the action. With our unique setup wizard, you can be up and running in minutes. Imagine how this product could cut down on travel time and expenses for businesses all over the world.
All right, Jim, we're coming down from an exciting segment there on relationships. How we're going to transition into the finance part here.
You know, actually, the transition is very easy because one of the things, you know, a lot of times people look at financial coaching or financial planning and they say, well, gee, you know, I don't think I can afford that.
Yes, yes.
Or I don't have any money. Why would I need, you know, isn't it just for rich people? And one of the things that I try to do is well, first of all, a lot of times people say, you know, the one question is, well, how do you choose who you work with?
Okay.
You know, do I have to have X amount of dollars for you to want to work with me?
Okay.
And my feeling is this: if you want help, if you want to improve your situation, you're the ideal person for me to work with.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if you have $2 or, you know, thousands.
Okay.
It's the person who believes they can benefit is the person who's already right. They will.
Okay.
And the person who doesn't believe they can benefit, they're already right too, because they won't.
When is your next appointment now?
Yes, well, actually, get on my calendar quickly. No, but one of the things, and this kind of comes back to relationships, because one of the things that often happens is that people make financial decisions based on external influences.
Okay.
They may know something, and I always tell people, trust your gut instinct. You know, whatever you feel is right, probably is. And so if you're going and looking at a house that looks like it might be too expensive, guess what? It probably is.
Yes.
Or if you're driving a car, you know, or you're going to look for a car and you know, it's kind of like, well, you know, I'm thinking of you know, my payment can't be really more than $250 a month, and this one's $450, and maybe I can swing it somehow. And you know what? You're probably wrong. You probably shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And you know, the person who says, well, I need, and in fact, we were talking during one of the breaks. You know, I need a new TV, and the 50-inch TVs are on sale.
Okay.
And I don't have the cash to get it, but they'll finance it for me. And you know, that's the kind of thing. Those are the kinds of decisions that people make, where they know it's a bad idea, but they want it.
Okay.
And they want the gratification. And so my job as a financial coach is to tell people, I'm not all about denying yourself.
Okay.
What I'm all about is balancing between today and tomorrow.
Okay.
And if you know that tomorrow is all taken care of, then you can spend money guilt-free. And it's not a big problem. So, you know, if you want to buy a nicer car, and you know that things like your retirement or your kids' college educations are taken care of, or you know, you've already set aside savings, you know, and you want to put something on a credit card. It's not evil to do that, but what I try to do is I try to help people. It's a matter of learned behavior.
Okay.
And there's a sequence, and this is something I tell people all the time. It is the way you feel influences the way you think. And the way you think influences what you do as actions.
Okay.
And any action that's repeated over time becomes a habit. So what we want to do is we want to try to instill good habits. But it has to start way back with how people feel.
Okay.
And of course, you know, the way people feel a lot of times when they come see me is they feel stressed, because they know they're not doing things right, So we just say, okay, how would you feel if you became your own bank?
Okay.
You know, if you wanted that 50-inch TV, you just simply go in and say, how much is it? Write a check. Or use a
That's
debit
power.
card.
Yes.
You know, and,
Right.
and because I've got $500 in my account that wasn't to buy groceries for the week. It was,
Right.
you know, or
It's
to pay my
truly
rent. Or,
discretionary.
yeah. So I can walk in. I don't owe anything to anybody at that point.
Okay.
I go in, I buy it, and then I begin to reimburse myself on a weekly or a monthly basis
Okay.
to build that back up. And when I begin to create that kind of a cycle and it becomes a habit, then I always buy things that I can afford. And it's kind of interesting. I had this conversation with a gentleman, this was years ago, but he said, you never buy something when you need it. Buy it when you want it.
Okay.
And I thought about that, and of course, I'm thinking, you know, from a financial standpoint, I'm thinking, well, that's totally backwards. And then I began to realize what he was saying, and because I learned from the people I work with, and I said, you know, that makes perfect sense, because you can look at something like a pair of shoes or a suit or whatever it may be,
Yes.
and okay, I like that, but it's not on sale, and I'm not going to pay full price. But if you just happen to be walking through a store and you see something that's, I think it was kind of like the way I bought this jacket. It was 50% off, and then they had a special sale that was 40% off of the sale price.
Oh, wow.
So it was almost like they just took it off the rack and handed it to me and said, "Here, it's 3 years for free."
Yep.
But you know what? I wanted it.
Okay.
I didn't need it,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted it.
All right.
And it was the time that I could go in and I could just buy it right then and pay cash. And I didn't owe anybody anything after I walked out the door.
Uh-huh.
And but that is a great philosophy. And what it does is it allows people to buy the things that they do need,
Mm-hmm.
but they can wait. They can wait until the price is right.
Yes. Yes.
And I do that all the time when I go shopping, even in the grocery store.
Okay.
I'll see something and say, "That's a really good price. I'm buying it today." And
Because oftentimes if you wait and you go back, either the item is gone or the price is back to the
Right.
regular price.
Right. So I may not need it, but I want it, and I know I can get it. And it you know makes my lifestyle maybe 30% cheaper than somebody who buys when they need something.
Right, because if you go to, I need this today,
Yeah.
and you go and you're stuck with whatever is there, and 9
Right.
times out of 10 you aren't going to shop around because you don't have time.
And you're going to
Exactly.
pay whatever the
Yeah,
price is
that's
because
right.
you need it.
Yes,
And
yes.
so, yeah.
And you will think quickly about, oh, you know, this price, we'll grab it anyway. It's like,
Right.
I gotta have it.
Right.
Right, and you know what? When you do things like that,
That's so funny.
especially for women, when we do stuff like that, we wear it that one time. We're
Right.
sort of done.
Mhm.
I mean, because we waited until we needed it,
Right.
and then we didn't have a choice. Our backs were against the wall, so we
Sure.
had to get it.
Yeah, so then it just has a purpose on it versus, you know, a short-term purpose
Right.
versus, you know, a suit, you know, I'm going to wear, you know, you wear it, you get a whole lot of wear out of it.
Right.
Mhm.
So you know, again, that's when it comes down to financial planning.
Mhm.
A lot of it is just simply balancing and saying, you know, I know I have a certain amount of money coming in each month. I have a certain amount that goes out each month that I can't control.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to have to pay my housing, my car, my, you know, utilities, my food, that sort of thing. If there's something left over, which we hope there is, then it's a matter of saying, how do I direct that?
Right.
How do I do it in a way that it makes the most sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not necessarily tying up every penny so that I can't get to it,
Yes.
because, you know, again, that creates emergencies. If you know, if an emergency comes up, you don't want to necessarily say, well, I've got this credit card and it's a, you know, 24.9% interest rate, but
Right.
I've got, you know, $2,000 credit available, so I'll just use that. You know, that's something that's going to haunt you for a long time. But you also don't want to be in a position where you say, well, the only other asset I have is my retirement account. And I'm not old enough to pull it out penalty free, but I can get at it.
Right. Right.
And so I'm going to cash out, you know, several $1,000s, which then Uncle Sam wants their share, and maybe penalties and you know, and if it's invested in, you know, some stock-based fund, that's certainly going to be the day that the market just took a big dive.
Is that right?
You know,
right.
the day that you need that money. So, you know, again, that's what I try to tell people is you need to create a foundation and then build on the foundation. Don't
Yes.
start at the top
Yes.
and try and work your way back down.
Okay.
So it's a lot of it is just simply common sense, and I'm the common sense guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I always defer to him
Okay.
when it comes to money because, well, you know, that's the whole thing, and it goes back to the relationships. Is that,
Exactly.
you know, people have expertise in different areas. You know, he is very good with financial planning,
And you
which
should not
means
try
a
to match
budget.
his wit.
Well, you know what? With the budget, and
Uh-huh.
he taught me a lot about the budget.
Okay.
You know,
That's a nasty word.
well, especially when you're a person who adores shoes.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and so I had this
And it's the
huge.
shoe tea.
Well,
Yes,
well, you know what? No, like shoes were sort of like my drug of choice.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
I don't know. Even though I didn't wear them. You know, it was just for me the thrill of having the UPS guy deliver the new pair of shoes that I could look at, you know, and I could even wear them if I wanted to. But then, you know, he looked and he said, "Well, you know, you got 43 pair of shoes. You know, do you wear them?"
Right.
And you know, okay, well, you know, you want other things, but you're doing the shoe thing,
Right.
And so, you know, and then like I was one of these people who, like, you know, occasionally had screwed up checking account. He showed me how for it not to be in the red, you know, which, like he said, you're giving the bank money. So
I know that's
you know.
the evil part. It's like if it was a nonprofit, you might feel a little bit better. Or if they took those $33 and $40 and would donate them someplace.
Right,
You know,
but they're just
that's
feeding the
big
bank's
business for
coffers,
them.
you know,
That
so.
is free money. That is
Sure.
big business for a bank.
And you know what? Money is the number one reason people argue.
We're going to take a very short break and be right back, and we're going to wrap things up with Jim and Marsha. They have a blog talk radio show that they do twice a week, and doing some other wonderful things. It's helping people to grow and to be the best they can be, and then we're going to close it out. We'll be right back.
Camp Tech allows you to create endless possibilities. We teach interactive technology through game, graphic, web design, 3D animation, and filmmaking for youth, businesses, parents, seniors, toddlers, for all ages. For more information, please visit our website at camptechonline.com. Camp Tech, creating endless possibilities.
I alluded to the blog talk on radio show. Let's tell us a little bit about that. Anything else that you're doing? Let's get some websites and things out there as well.
Okay.
Close it up.
Well, you talk about the radio show. That was your project before I started working with you on it.
We do. We have a radio show on Blog Talk Mondays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's called Together Again.
Yes, I like that title.
And you know what we do is, like I said, our platform is to inform, educate, and to shamelessly promote. And so I think everybody can tell that Jim and I are not selfish people, that we share ourselves and our time and our capabilities to get messages across with everybody. And so what we do is he and I kind of like act like the old Regis and Kelly people from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And we give our opinions on trending news, and, you know, our humor comes through. And from 7 to 7:30, we usually have an author on if somebody has requested to be on the show so that they can promote their book. If not, if they have a service or something else that we think is beneficial to our listeners, then we bring them on the show also.
Okay.
And the show is live call-in show. And then from 7:30 to 8:30, we get into like the meat of the evening, where we have had several experts on, as Jim and as we were talking earlier. Recently, we had the president of the American College Podiatry Association in New York on to talk about foot health issues. A lot of people, you see these little kids, and from birth they're wearing Nikes. A bad idea. And
both ways, financially and
yes,
personally.
because most newborns don't need to make a fashion statement.
Exactly.
And we've had Dr. Barry Sears on, who did the Zone Diet, and he was talking about a topic, metabolic X syndrome, which a lot of people have, where blood pressure, diabetes, and some other things are all at play in one body, and what you can do to deal with that. We've had people on to discuss fibromyalgia. We've had lawyers on. We've had doctors on. We've had Jim Halsey, who is an icon in the music industry, on. And we've had people, just everyday people, as Sly Stone used to say, who have very interesting stories to tell. And if you want to listen to
Sly
us,
Stone, right? You know who that is, right?
Oh, yeah.
let me tell you, this man
I
knows.
thought I would throw that in.
He knows
He's not
music.
that much younger to miss that.
Actually, he has better working knowledge of music than I do. For people who see my post on Facebook, they know that has to be awesome. But if you want to listen to us, and this is so funny, this how I used to do promo videos for the show, and when I first started doing it took me like 20 takes.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And then sometimes I could do it just like that. First take, I was so happy. So it became a joke about the website address, because I would always say in the video, you can listen to us at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time at www.blogtalkradio.com/LWL-radio. And so I would do that in my sleep. So one day somebody asked him about the website for the show, and he could just zip it off. It's like.
And I did it in the same tone.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to listen to Together again, it is www.blogtalkradio.com/LWL-radio. If you are interested in Emmy Baker's originals, that is at www.emmybaker.com. And if you're interested in some coaching or right now financial information, because he's going to have a different website soon, it is at www.mdeanwalkerandassociates.com.
All right. Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I want to thank you guys again for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Look forward to
It's wonderful
Yes.
being on here.
Awesome. I can't wait to put these in my shoes.
Yes, everybody. If you don't want your closets to smell bad from your shoes, you need to get Emmy Baker shoe tea.
Absolutely. So until then, we'll see you next week, and you go out and make something positive happen in your community.